Berlin, the 30th of January, 1943. Just before 11 in the morning, Hermann Göring is sitting in the Reich Air Ministry building, waiting for his cue. He is about to deliver a national radio address for the 10th anniversary of the Nazi Party's seizure of power. Millions of Germans have their radios switched on. And then, the air raid. Unquote. Sirens begin. High above the city, 3 British bombers are cutting a straight line toward the broadcasting station, engines howling. They are not Lancasters. They are not Halifaxes. They are not, in fact, made of metal at all. They are made of wood, spruce, and balsa, glued and screwed together in furniture shops and piano factories in the English countryside, and no Luftwaffe fighter over Berlin can catch them. This is the wooden plane Germany could not catch, and what 3 of them are about to do on the 10th anniversary of the Third Reich is leave the second most powerful man in Nazi Germany standing silent in front of his own microphone. Its name is the de Havilland Mosquito, and the story of how it came to exist starts, oddly enough, with almost everyone in Britain saying it was a terrible idea. Spring of 1940. France is falling. The British Army has just been pulled off the minute beaches at Dunkirk. And into the corridors of the British Air Ministry walks a designer named Geoffrey de Havilland with a proposal that sounds, at first, like a joke. He wants to build a bomber with no guns, no armor, no tail gunner, no belly turret, nothing to shoot back with at all. Its skin will not be aluminum. Its skin will be plywood. Its frame will be spruce and balsa. It will be glued together like a giant-scale model. And it will be fast, faster than any German fighter now in service. The Air Ministry laughs. In an age when British and German bomber design is racing toward heavier armor, bigger crews, and more defensive machine guns, de Havilland is proposing to run the other way. Wood, the ministry tells him, belongs in pianos, not warplanes. Only one man believes him, Air Chief Marshal Sir Wilfrid Freeman. Freeman pushes the whole project through internal committees, forces it onto priority lists, and defends it against 3 separate attempts by Lord Beaverbrook, the Minister of Aircraft Production, to shut it down. The ministry gives the project a nickname behind Freeman's back. They call it Freeman's Folly. De Havilland is told he will have one chance, build one prototype. If it does not perform, the project dies. The 25th of November, 1940. A cold morning at Hatfield Airfield in Hertfordshire. A yellow-painted prototype rolls out onto the grass. 2 Rolls-Royce Merlin engines cough into life. Geoffrey de Havilland's son, Geoffrey Jr., the test pilot, climbs into the cockpit. And then the wooden aircraft that half the Air Ministry wants, scrapped, takes off. Within minutes, Ida's doing something no British aircraft has ever done. Ida's flying faster than a Spitfire. The prototype climbs past 380 miles per hour on that first run. Officers on the ground stare up in silence. The doped fabric skin glints in the winter sun. No gun turrets to slow it down, no armor plate, just 2 great engines dragging a sculpted wooden shell through the air at speeds no metal fighter in Britain or Germany can match. Within weeks, the Air Ministry places an order for 150 of them. The prototype has not yet completed compatriots. The furniture shops go to work. Cabinet makers, coach builders, piano companies, firms that have spent decades bending wood for concert grands and railway carriages now find themselves gluing together the airframes of the world's fastest operational aircraft. Its official designation is the de Havilland DH-98 Mosquito. The men who build it and the crews who will fly it call it something shorter. They call it the Mossy or the Wooden Wonder. The 15th of November, 1941. The Mosquito enters operational service with the Royal Air Force. It is, for the moment, the fastest operational aircraft in the world. It is also unforgiving. 2 engines, tight wing loading, a very high stall speed on one engine, and a design that punishes the smallest mistake on takeoff. The RAF decides quickly that the Mosquito is too valuable for average pilots. Only the best crews in Bomber Command are allowed near it. The historian Bill Sweetman would later write that flying the Mosquito was less like piloting an aircraft and more like negotiating with one. It could kill you, but if you knew what you were doing, it could carry you deeper into German airspace, faster, lower, and quieter than any bomber ever built. By 1942, small formations of Mosquitoes are flying daylight raids into Germany. Alone, unescorted, without a single defensive gun, they come in a treetop level, drop their bombs, and are gone before the Luftwaffe can climb to their altitude. German fighter controllers can see them on radar. They can scramble squadrons to intercept. It does not matter. The Mosquito is simply too fast. Which brings us back to Berlin. The 30th of January, 1943. 10 years to the day since Hitler took power. The Nazi Party has scheduled 2 national broadcasts. Göring in the morning, Goebbels in the afternoon. It is meant to be a day of parades, speeches, and choreographed propaganda. 3 Mosquitoes, flying above the city, arrive over Berlin at precisely the moment Göring is about to step to the microphone. Bombs fall on the main broadcasting station. The great transmission goes dead. Göring's speech is knocked off the air. The Nazis reschedule the broadcast for the afternoon, when Goebbels is due to speak. A second wave of Mosquitoes returns. Goebbels is also cut off. Itis, the first daylight raid on the Reich capital by the RAF, and the humiliation is complete. 3 unarmed wooden bombers on the 10th anniversary of the Third Reich have made the 2 most senior propagandists in Nazi Germany stand silent in front of their own microphones. Göring does not forget it. The 18th of March, 1943, 2 months after the Berlin raid, Göring is at his hunting lodge, Hall, deep in the forests northeast of the capital. He has summoned the technical heads of the entire German aviation industry. A stenographer is recording every word. For 6 hours he screams at them. He tells them that Britain, a nation running short on aluminum, has built a wooden aircraft faster than anything Germany has in the sky. He tells them that piano factories in England are turning out warplanes while the Reich's own aircraft plants cannot match the design. And then he says, the line that will follow him through history. It makes me furious when I see the Mosquito, he tells them. I turn green and yellow with envy. The British knocked together a beautiful wooden aircraft that every piano factory over there is building, and they give it a speed which they have now increased yet again. Then he orders his engineers to build him one. They cannot. Instead, the Luftwaffe forms specialized squadrons whose only job is to catch Mosquitoes. High-altitude interceptor units, dedicated radar coverage. It has limited success. The wooden plane keeps coming. The 18th of February, 1944, Amiens in occupied France. Snow is falling heavily across the countryside. In the city's Gestapo-run prison, hundreds of people are being held, including French resistance fighters, believed to be in imminent danger of execution. 19 Mosquitoes take off from a base in England. The operation is called Jericho. Their target is not the guards. It is not the town. It is not the roads. Their target is a wall. They fly across the channel in a blizzard so thick that half the escort of Typhoon fighters lose formation and turn back. The Mosquitoes press on. They come in over the road to Amiens at 15 feet, low enough that their wingtips are level with the telegraph wires. And at nearly 250 miles per hour, they hit the eastern wall of the prison. Two 500-pound bombs punch through the stone in two places, tearing a breach, more than 60 feet across. Another mosquito wave hits the guardhouse, where the German staff are having lunch. About 50 guards are killed, and, through the smoking hole in the wall, 255 prisoners run out into the snow. The Mosquito is now not just fast, it is surgical. It is the only aircraft in the war that can find a specific wall of a specific building in a snowstorm and put a bomb through it without hitting the people on the other side. The Mosquito's list of jobs by 1944 is nearly comical in its variety. It is a high-altitude bomber, a low-level attacker, a pathfinder flying ahead of bomber, commands heavy streams to mark targets with flares, a photo reconnaissance aircraft that brings back the first pictures of the German rocket program at Peenemünde, a night fighter painted matte black, hunting Luftwaffe intruders over England. And when Hitler begins launching V-1 flying bombs at London in the summer of 1944, it is the Mosquito that hunts them. More than 600 of the Buzz bombs are shot down by Mosquito night fighters in the months that follow, intercepted in the dark and destroyed in mid-air before they can reach the city. By the end of the war, 40 different variants of the Mosquito have entered service. It has flown in Europe, in Burma, over the Atlantic, over the Pacific. It has served as bomber, fighter, torpedo bomber, submarine hunter, courier, spy plane, and trainer. Nearly 8,000 of them will be built before production ends. And in all of that time, the Luftwaffe never fully solves the problem of catching it in the air. That is, not for lack of trying. Even before Göring's tirade at Karenhall, Focke-Wulf's chief designer, Kurt Tank, is working on a fighter designed to catch the fastest Allied aircraft at extreme altitude. Chief among his targets, the high-flying photo reconnaissance Mosquito, operating at heights where almost nothing in the Luftwaffe inventory can reach it. Tank stretches the wings of the Foot 190. He pressurizes the cockpit. He adds a new engine and a chemical boost system for the thinnest air of the war. He finishes the design. But by the time the aircraft enters service, in January of 1945, Germany has weeks left. Only about 70 of them will ever be built. A few do meet Mosquitoes in the bows. Sky in the final weeks of the war. In one of those encounters, a German pilot named Willy Reschke catches sight of a Mosquito, opens the throttle to chase, and watches his own engine fail to keep pace as the wooden plane vanishes westward into the clouds. The plane that Germany designed specifically to hunt the Mosquito could not catch the Mosquito either. That is the whole story of the Wooden Wonder in one sentence. Today, of the nearly 8,000 Mosquitoes built, only a handful remain airworthy anywhere in the world. Most of them rotted away in the decades after the war. The same wood that made them fast also made them fragile once the varnish and the glue began to age. But their legacy is the one that matters. The Mosquito was the first true multi-role combat aircraft in history. The idea that a single airframe, cheaply built, unusually fast, and endlessly adaptable, could replace an entire generation of specialized designs, that idea is the ancestor of every modern combat aircraft now in service. From the F-16 to the Rafale to the F-35, they are all at their conceptual root doing what a wooden two-seater from an English piano factory proved possible in 1941. The Mosquito was born from a proposal that half the British government wanted to shut down. It was built by furniture makers and cabinet workers. It was flown by a small number of the RAF's most disciplined pilots. And It embarrassed the Reichsmarschall on his own anniversary, freed hundreds of resistance fighters in a snowstorm, and stayed one step ahead of the entire German Air Force for the last 4 years of the war. Not because it was armored, not because it was armed, but because it was faster than they were. So was the Mosquito the best aircraft of the Second World War? Better than the Spitfire? Better than the Mustang? Even better than the jet-powered Me-262? Drop your answer in the comments. This is one of the great debates of the air war, and I want to hear where you land on it. If this story of the plane the Luftwaffe could not catch was worth your time, hit the like button. It genuinely helps this channel show up to other people who care about the aircraft. History most channels skip over. And next time the plane Kurt Tank finally built to hunt the Mosquito down, the Focke-Wulf 152, the last high-altitude fighter Nazi Germany would ever produce. Longer winged than a Spitfire, higher flying than a Mustang, and in a war that had 4 months left to run, the one plane that might have finally caught the wooden wonder if only it had arrived in time. Subscribe so that story lands in your feed when it drops. Thanks for watching.